In this chapter, we're going to start talking about the piano keyboard. The piano keyboard is a very useful tool for musicians, even if they don't know how to play the piano. By understanding how the piano keyboard is laid out, it makes it easier to identify scales, chords, intervals, and some of the more advanced concepts that you may learn within this course. By the end of this chapter, you should understand the concept of the octave. You should know the 7-note major and minor scale on the keyboard, and you should be able to identify the notes on the keyboard. We're not going to be identifying all of the notes, but you should know how to identify the white keys of the piano. So as I mentioned, the piano is a useful tool for musicians. Even if you never learn to play the piano, understanding how it's laid out will make the rest of this course extremely easy, because you can use the piano as a sort of visual aid to learn some of the more advanced concepts in the course. The piano consists of 12 total keys. These keys are going to be repeated in a pattern. In the illustration below, you'll see the first white key is the note C. The remaining keys follow the musical alphabet. Now the black keys have names too, but that's a more advanced topic we're going to get to later. What I want you to pay attention to right now is notice how that first note on the piano is C, and then it goes all the way up to B. But once we hit G, it starts over again at A. It doesn't keep going to the note H. I'm going to repeat this concept a few times because it's something that a lot of students do miss if they've never studied music before. But there are only 7 letter names or note names in music: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And once you hit G, you start over again at A. So let's talk a little bit about the piano keyboard layout. The keys on the piano are identified using the first 7 letters of the English alphabet. There are 7 white keys that bear unique names on the piano keyboard. This particular image is only showing you 7 white keys. If you count them, you'll see that's true. So notice a pattern of 2 black keys, which we're going to refer to as the double set, separated by 2 white keys, and then 3 black keys, which I'm going to refer to as the triple set. Notice how the note C falls to the left of the double set of black keys. No matter where you go on the piano, if you go to the white key immediately to the left of that double set of black keys, it will always be a C. The note F falls to the left of the triple set of black keys. Again, no matter where you go on the piano, you find that triple set of black keys, that F is always going to be the white key immediately to the left of the first key in the triple set of black keys. This is an important concept to learn. It's going to make everything else in this course so much easier if you can memorize this. So now let's look at the entire piano keyboard. So here we have the entire piano keyboard, or a much larger portion of the piano keyboard. The distance from one letter name to the next is an octave. So from C to the next C is an octave. From that C to the next C is also an octave. If you were to skip one, it would be 2 octaves. If you were to skip 2 C's, it'd be 3 octaves. But what I want you to notice here is that all the C's on the piano are immediately to the left of the double set of black keys. So that's going to be the way it is on every piano. Now I'm going to show you the next note on the piano, the next white key, and we're going to go through this step by step to make sure there's no confusion. But take a second, take a wild guess what the next white key would be on the piano. You just follow the musical alphabet and you get the note D. So again, the distance from one D to the next D on the piano keyboard is going to be considered an octave. So you should understand this concept of the octave now. It's when you move, you can go up or down from one letter name to its next letter name. And if you actually look at all the C's or all the D's on the piano, that's actually a concept called pitch class, which we're going to get into a little bit later, but I'm going to introduce that idea now. All the D's on the piano could be considered to be part of the same pitch class. All the C's on the piano are also part of the same pitch class. So now the next note on the piano. If you said it is E, You are correct. So now you've got all the C's, the D's, and the E's on the piano labeled. We go to the next key on the piano, we have F. And the next key is G. Now, this is where some students do get confused. We do not move to H for the next white key. Instead, the musical alphabet starts over again on A. So if you understand this concept, you're doing really well in the course so far. What's important here is to know that there are 7 letter names that we use, A through G, and once we hit G, we start over again on A. So the next note is going to be B. And that rounds out the entire system on the piano. So now you should know how to figure out all the note names on the piano, at least all the white keys on the piano. So let's go over a few questions to make sure you understand this. And this is actually going to be your first theory drill. The first theory drill is going to ask you to identify keys on the piano. So here's an example of that. Identify key 1 on the piano keyboard. So you look up number 1, you see it's the very first key on the piano, and since it's to the left of the double set of black keys, we know that the answer has to be C. So here's another one. Identify key 9 on the piano keyboard. So you look for key 9, you figure out where that key is in relation to the C or the F, and your answer, I'm going to give you a moment to figure it out. Your answer should be D. Let's do one more. Identify key 4 on the piano keyboard. That's to the left of the triple set of black keys, so we know that has to be F. Now identify key 14 on the piano keyboard. So you just find key 14, you try and figure out where it is in relation to the double set and the triple set. And if you said the answer is B, you are correct. So now, one final concept in this unit, so that you understand the basic premise behind major and minor scales. So there are several different major and minor scales that are possible within music. Major scales alone have 15 different types of scales. Minor scales, there's quite a few more. But at this point, you have enough information to play a major and minor scale on the piano if you want. To play a major scale, simply start on the note C and end on the note C. That will create a major scale. If you want to play a minor scale, start on the note A and end on the note A. That will create your minor scale. So you don't need to know this information yet, but I find it helpful to introduce the concept of major and minor scales early on, so that by the time you get to unit 4 and 5, when we start dealing with scales in more detail, you already have a basic oral understanding and theoretical understanding of how major and minor scales function. So if you have a piano keyboard, just go and play that major scale. Listen to what it sounds like. Play the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Then play a minor scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Notice how the two scales sound different. So that's it for this lecture. If you have any questions, please contact your instructor, and they should be able to help you out.